Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning, and I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, Grange Hill High boy killed, girl injured in after sports day shooting. Gang violence within the community of Grange Hill, Westmoreland has left a grade 10 schoolboy, 16-year-old Carson Bennett dead, and his female schoolmate of Grange Hill High School hospitalized. The incident, which took place sometime after 5 p.m. on Thursday, has left the school community mourning as they try to understand why the authorities have not been able to rid the community of decades of crime and violence. Head of the Westmoreland Police Superintendent Othniel Dobson told the news that their investigations are pointing them to the ongoing gang conflict between the Kings Valley Gang and the Answer Posse Gang. Grange Hill has long been handcuffed by gang feud between the infamous Kings Valley Gang and the emerging Answer Posse Gang, a feud responsible for several murders committed within the parish for many decades. Dobson said that the incident took place along the Belle Isle Road, where Grange Hill High School is located. What we know so far is that the two students were attacked and shot by two men said to be riding on motorbikes, Dobson said. Initial information is that the male victim has some connection with the Kings Valley Gang, and that may have led to him being attacked and killed, explained Dobson, who recently took up duties as a new commanding officer for the Westmoreland Police Division. In the meantime, Trevin Donaldson Lawrence, principal of the school, said that the attack that claimed the life of one of her students and the injuring of another took place when they were walking home together following the school's annual Inter-House Sports Day activities. The students in question are among our high achievers. They are not involved in any conflicts within the school or in the community that we are aware of, Donaldson Lawrence said. This incident has nothing to do with any conflicts at the school, the principal explained in a news interview last night. She noted that the school has reached out to the Ministry of Education and Youth on the matter, and it has been decided that given the gravity of the incident, face-to-face classes will not be held today. For tomorrow, we will not be resuming face-to-face classes. However, we will be going online using the Google Classroom space, the Grange Hill High School principal said. Further, Donaldson Lawrence shared that her team of administrators were reaching out to external human resource personnel from the Restorative Justice Department and the guidance counselors within the region so that come Monday, a comprehensive trauma team will be in place to provide grief counseling for all stakeholders. The shooting, death, and injury of the Grange Hill High School boy comes just a week after a stabbing incident that claimed the life of a 14-year-old schoolboy at Irwin High School in St. James. That incident has left another schoolboy, a 15-year-old, indicted on murder charges. Meanwhile, Dobson said that his team is on the ground within the Grange Hill space, ensuring that a proper investigation is done and that the area remains safe for the residents to continue to freely move around their community. Government facing huge legal bill following Privy Council ruling in cartel appeal. The news has been informed that the government is facing a multi-million-dollar legal bill following last month's decision of the UK-based Privy Council to overturn the murder convictions of incarcerated entertainer Vybz Kartel and his 3 co-accused. In its final order submitted to the local authorities 2 weeks ago, the Privy Council awarded legal costs to the appellants and their attorneys. The news understands that the legal bill could be as high as $20 million. 9 attorneys, most of them King's Counsel, were involved in the case. On March 14, the Privy Council dismissed the murder conviction of Kartel, whose given name is Adidja Palmer, Sean Storm Campbell, Kahira Jones, and Andre Matsus St. John on the grounds of jury tampering. The men were convicted on March 13, 2014 for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. The case has been sent back to the Court of Appeal for a decision on whether they should face retrial for the 2011 murder. That hearing is now set for June 10 and will last 5 days. Most Jamaicans disagreed with a government walkout of parliament, says poll. There is apparently not much support for the government's parliamentary walkout last month. A recent poll commissioned by the opposition People's National Party shows that 70% of Jamaicans disagreed with a walkout of parliament led by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in March. The poll, which canvassed the responses from 1,057 people across the 14 parishes over a 9-day period between April 4 and 12, was conducted by Market Research Services. The large majority of Jamaicans interviewed expressed the view that a walkout of Parliament to protest the budget speech by opposition leader Mark Golding was in poor taste and a lapse in judgment. The move was prompted by Mr. Golding's comment that Juliet Holness cannot impartially serve as both the Speaker of the House of Representatives and be the Prime Minister's wife. He also blasted the government over a number of decisions in what was described as a slap in the face of good governance. The walkout forced the opposition leader to complete his speech on the sidewalks outside the Gordon House. The poll shows that only 10% of respondents supported the government's decision and the remaining 20% were uncertain about their position. Those interviewed were confirmed registered voters. Only one person per household was interviewed. The poll has a margin of error of plus or minus 3% at the 95% confidence level, which is consistent with international best practice among all recognized research entities globally. Llewellyn has not resigned, says attorney. King's Counsel Douglas Lees, who has been retained by incumbent Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn, says she has not stepped down from her post. I can say affirmatively that she has not resigned, and it would not be advisable for her to resign her position until the Court of Appeal has finally determined the issues, Lees told the news yesterday. Asked whether Llewellyn is on a leave of absence, Lees replied that she is not in office. The former Solicitor General's revelation comes amid calls by the Jamaica Bar Association for clarity on the appointment of acting DPP Claudette Thompson. The association wants a clear explanation on whether the acting appointment was made based on the DPP's post being vacant or through Llewellyn's inability to perform the functions of the office. Llewellyn on Monday stepped aside as the Attorney General indicated that he would be appealing the aspect of Friday's Constitutional Court ruling on the validity of her extended tenure. The full court had ruled that the change in the Constitution in July last year to raise the age of retirement for the DPP and the Auditor General from 60 to 65 was valid. However, the amendment allowing Llewellyn to choose to remain was invalid. A panel of judges comprising Justices Sonia Wint-Blair, Simone Wolf-Rees, and Justice Tricia Hutchinson-Shelley noted that the incumbent DPP has already reached the extended retirement age, which means that the application of Section 2.2 cannot lead to another extension by way of an election on the part of the incumbent DPP, as this is unlawful. The DPP reached the age of retirement in 2020 but got a 3-year extension, which ended in September 2023. The judges further ruled that the only lawful way to extend Llewellyn's current tenure is by agreement between the Prime Minister of Jamaica and the leader of the opposition. Opposition lawmakers Philip Paulwell and Peter Bunting had initiated the challenge to the amendment to the Constitution, while the Attorney General was the respondent in the matter. King's Counsel Michael Hilton, who represented Paulwell and Bunting, argued that the ruling meant that Llewellyn would have to leave office immediately. However, other parties, including the Attorney General's chambers and the Minister of Justice Delroy Chuck, were of the view that no such order had been made. The Attorney General consequently advised that after careful consideration and in the interest of the public, he would be appealing the ruling to have the issues resolved and determined by the Court of Appeal. In the news, legal experts warned that there could be a great risk if Llewellyn continued to exercise the powers of the office in the wake of the ruling. In a release later on Sunday, the Attorney General's chambers said that the DPP had advised that she is unable to carry out the functions of her office at this time and that the Public Service Commission would be invited to appoint a qualified person to act in the role. But Jambar, in a press release yesterday, pointed to the advisory, noting that the inference could be made that Llewellyn remains the holder of the substantive post of a DPP but is unable to perform the functions of the office, and Thompson is acting as a DPP on that premise. At the same time, Jambar questioned whether the words "any reason" can properly be interpreted to include a court ruling that declares as a null and void the premise on which that particular individual holds the office. The danger of that interpretation of Section 96(3), if it is incorrect, is that it gives rise to a further and even more serious question of whether the acting DPP could properly have been appointed until the Attorney General's appeal against the court ruling is heard, Jambar says. It also states that if the acting appointment was made based on Llewellyn's inability to perform the functions of the office, the PSC must clarify the reason for the inability. Several calls to PSC Chairman Patricia Sinclair McCullough for comment went unanswered. Similarly, the news calls and the messages sent to AG Derek McCoy went unanswered. The question pertaining to whether Llewellyn's reason for leaving office would be covered under Section 96(3) of the Constitution was posed to Lees, but he indicated that it was outside of his remit and was a question for the AG. As you know, there is an appeal. I can't speak for the authorities, but having regard to the fact that there is an appeal, it would be imprudent for them to appoint somebody to be DPP until the questions have been finally determined on appeal, he added. Lees, in the meantime, shared that he would be making an application for leave to intervene to argue on Llewellyn's behalf in the Court of Appeal. According to him, all the parties have asked for the matter to be expedited. Human rights lobby Jamaicans for Justice, in the meantime, has renewed its call for the appointment of a permanent DPP. JFJ is of the view that there is no ambiguity arising from the ruling and that the office was rendered vacant as of September 21, 2023, based on Friday's ruling. Of grave concern and that which requires clarity in advising the appointment of an acting DPP, the state noted Ms. Llewellyn's voluntary but seemingly temporary departure from the role, it said. Furthermore, the group argued that Section 96(3) of the Constitution was never intended for an acting DPP to be so appointed as an interim office holder, pending an appeal to an adverse court ruling.